In a capitalist economy, actually, firms can be quite ethical and quite conscientious, but it really depends upon their growth patterns and their margin, effectively how profitable they are. Because how profitable they are and how much power they have in the marketplace will dictate the conditions. And what you find is that in many sectors, there's different ways to operate. So the classic example is to look at Gap and Zara. So Gap is a big American retailer that's generally global. Zara is a Spanish company, it's sort of known as Inditex, but better known as Zara. And it operates globally as well. They have two completely different supply chains. So Gap is a typical apparel outsourcer. So they make most of their products in Southeast Asia, for example, or India or in Bangladesh. And they have very long supply chains. So it might take them a month or two to decide what they want to have for the season. It might take 4 to 6 months to build up the inventory and ship that into the distribution centers. By the time it gets to you, the consumer, it could be 8 months. And oftentimes that's why you see more generic looking products, sort of white t-shirts or solid colored t-shirts or jeans, and why you also see lots of items on sale. Now, they've chosen this because it allows them to lower their financial risk by outsourcing all of their production activity. And so because they're a public company in the United States, they have to hit certain stockholder returns. And so they outsource that. And so oftentimes how ethical their suppliers are oftentimes depends on where the suppliers are located and what governments enforce their activity. Zara, on the other hand, has chosen to operate differently. So Zara, which has a fast fashion model, essentially will take designs off the catwalk that they copy, and they'll make them in Spain generally. And they'll get them into the store in 4 to 6 weeks. But what you find in Zara is once it's gone out of the store, you can't come back and get it. I mean, it basically makes a limited production run. It has a higher cost of production because it's making it in a higher wage country, but has a completely different business model. So is that more ethical? Well, one could suggest that it's certainly going to lead to higher paying jobs. And it's going to lead to a company culture that's predicated around vertical integration, which leads to more learning, which leads to quicker turnaround. But it also relies upon the fact that Zara is good enough at this that they don't have to really advertise, say, opposed to Gap. So it has other places in its budget where it can go. And you'll find that generally these kind of models tend to be mediated by the kinds of capitalist economy that exists in countries. So the US and the UK tend to be more liberal market economies, and the European continent tends to be a more coordinated market economy. So it's much more prevalent where there's much more activity with labor. Whereas in the US and the UK, they're moving towards financial returns, and so they're going to generally outsource.